Okay, so this is how you're going to start a clothing brand. Before we get started, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more. And so now here we go. I have a ton of knowledge about selling t-shirts, sweatshirts, and a bunch of other things, including like vintage fashion, as well as pants, socks, all of that. I have a background knowledge in all of this, so you've come to the right place to learn about how to start a clothing business. There are a lot of ways to get into the fashion game. We can get into starting a vintage clothing brand as well in the next video if you like. Remember to comment below as to what you want to see me cover in the next video. There are 3 ways to start a clothing business right off the bat if you have absolutely no money. Number 1, starting print on demand. This is a great way to really get going in, to start a clothing business. Particular websites I would use are number 1, eBay, Amazon, number 2, 3, Etsy, Shopify, starting your own business on Shopify. No, don't get me wrong, there are a few other ones that I have not mentioned, such as Bonanza as well. When you are trying to sell on these particular websites, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a look at Printful. Printful is a great way to get your clothing business going. Because let's just say you have no money. All you need to do with Printful, which is, I have a link in the description below if you're interested in starting on Printful, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just submit your own designs, and then they do all the work for you. It's completely print on demand. Passive income meaning you don't have to do a damn thing other than submitting the design yourself. Now, you're going to want to have a very high markup on these particular items, and you're going to want to sell, let's just say, a regular t-shirt for $29.99, and you're going to be making around $15 every single t-shirt that you sell, depending on which platform that you sell this particular t-shirt on. There are others as well, like selling on Teespring too, and selling on Redbubble, which is completely different. What those are is a completely, passive income source in terms of you just submitting the design, and they do literally everything as well. But the difference is that you don't need to answer to anyone in terms of customer service or any of that. They handle all of that stuff for you, and it's like really no risk at all. Printful, if you're going to sell, let's just say on Printful, then you can also have potential returns and exchanges and things like that. But for Redbubble, as well as TeePublic and Teespring, then they handle literally everything, and you get a percentage based on a commission. I have a lot of videos about Redbubble in the description below, so remember to check those out. So now, what I'm going to teach you in this video, again, is to really start from nothing to really work your business in terms of you selling a clothing brand, like let's just say t-shirts, sweatshirts, and all that, into a blossoming company that can potentially make you like well over, $100,000 per year or more, which, by the way, is not unheard of. I know you may be rolling your eyes, possibly, if you don't really have a good sense of how much money you could be making with, t-shirts and clothing. Let me just tell you this. You could be making a lot more money than you think, even though it's a very saturated market. Don't roll your eyes that quickly if you are a pessimist. Be optimistic in this business. And really, that goes with everything in terms of you selling anything online or in person. Always try to be optimistic. Always try to be, looking for the best way to sell a particular item, and don't try to be a pessimist. Really go for it. And so what I would say is the next thing you're going to do after print on demand, let's just say you make a lot of money with print on demand and you're able to take your business to the next level. Again, after you sell on Printful, what I would move to is potentially selling with screen print. Screen printing or DTG, direct to garment. Those are 2 completely different areas to go to if you're trying to sell your t-shirts. And so what is DTG? Well, DTG is direct to garment. And so what it means is basically is that you have a t-shirt printer. It's going to cost quite a bit of money, but at the same time, you have all that, income that you made with Printful. Let's just say it's $30,000. You can reapply that into your business. And so then it really won't become that big of an issue potentially, as long as you save the money toward a DTG printer. Now, there are a lot of other ways you can also make money in terms of t-shirt printing. And the other way that I was going to mention before is screen printing. And screen printing is universal in terms of what people use to make t-shirts. And this goes all the way back to the 70s and 80s. I mean, we're talking like the old Led Zeppelin shirts, use the old screen printing, and a bunch more ways to print as well. Like iron-on is also a great way to do this. But not to get sidetracked, talk about screen printing. Screen printing is a great way to really earn a lot of money. Basically, all you're going to want to do is get a screen printer, and then get all the things that come from it, with the actual screens themselves, the squeegees. We're talking like the actual print itself, like that, like the ink itself. Getting the white ink, getting the blacks, the reds, the blues, everything like that to be making your particular t-shirts. Now, why would you go through all this work to make a t-shirt? Well, it's because your profits will go through the roof. I mean, they will go way higher when they're selling t-shirts. Don't get me wrong. If you want a completely passive income, Printful, Redbubble, those are probably going to be for you. If you want to make way more money than screen printing, DTG, those may be a better option. But it really just depends on who you are. If you like to travel the world, if you like to, just hang out and just watch TV or go to the beach or whatever, then Printful, Teespring, Redbubble, TeePublic, those are going to be what I would highly recommend you doing potentially if you're going to open up a clothing business. This is going to be very key. After you do all of this, what you're going to want to do is also remember to try to hire someone if the work gets a little bit too much for you. Now, if you do all of this, the best thing to do in terms of advertising is, making a TikTok account, making a Pinterest, Instagram, all of the social media platforms, and use the hashtags based around the t-shirts that you're creating. I can't tell you how important it is to advertise on social media, especially if you are trying to sell on your own in terms of opening a Shopify account, which you can take a look in the description to try to do that. And by using that link, you can be making a lot of money on Shopify, way more than paying all these ridiculous fees on eBay and Etsy potentially. Really, selling independently is one of the best things that you could possibly do if you're trying to open up a clothing business. And because your profits are way higher, and especially too, when you're selling on Printful, if you're selling on Printify, with a print-on-demand company, you want your profits to be as high as possible because you are paying someone to make the shirts and ship the items out for you. So keep all that in mind. And so the best thing that I would do in terms of you advertising a particular product right now is using TikTok, using Instagram, making sure you take the best videos and the best photos and the best lighting and really promote your businesses based around, what you're doing, what you're creating. Establish a particular niche. I can't tell you how important that is too. Establishing a niche in terms of you creating your own clothing business. So what does that mean? What does a niche mean? Well, it means, let's just say you're trying to appeal to a skateboarder. Well, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try to appeal to that skateboarder by selling a particular shirt or particular pants, jeans, whatever that you're trying to sell in terms of vintage or regular clothing, and try to appeal to what their desires are, what their look, is. Let's just say skulls and crossbones. If you're trying to sell to the emo crowd, the goth crowd, which is a very good crowd to try to appeal to if you're trying to sell, particular clothing. If you're trying to appeal to a goth crowd, that's a great niche market to try to appeal to. The skateboard crowd, which I've talked about a lot. And of course, the stickers is huge if you're trying to, appeal to skateboarders. Those can be your upsells. And, when you're trying to sell, like, let's just say t-shirts, you don't have to stick to one particular article of clothing. You could sell socks. You could sell t-shirts. You could sell sweatshirts. It's all relative. Believe me, it's all relative as long as you don't go crazy. As long as you don't, try to sell, let's just say, baseball-related items, sports-related items, and mix that around with, skateboards. Unless there's a direct connection. But you're probably not going to find that, all too often. However, if you're trying to really do something, if you're really trying to open up a clothing brand and really appeal to a certain niche and you understand the markets a lot better, go for it. There are a lot of brands out there that, let's just say, like Vans. Like Vans is one of the best companies because what they do in terms of what their niche is, their niche market, and why they're so successful is because they appeal to that, the urban sort of demographic, I guess, I guess 20-year-old white dude kind of, demographic, but it works for them. Don't get me wrong. It totally works for them. And it's really something that I would particularly look toward in terms of you trying to appeal to certain demographics. Let's just say you want to appeal to a certain demographic in the skateboard industry. Look at Vans. Look at Spencer's. Take a look at what they're doing. Really understand who your demographics are. Understand who you're trying to appeal to. How to sell a particular item. These are all just really, really great keys to keep in mind when you're trying to open up a clothing business. Now, there are so many other things as well. We could talk about vintage clothing all day long too. That's completely different. But let's talk about that for a second. If you are trying to appeal or try to get vintage clothing, I should say, what you got to do is you need to understand, if an item sells, if an item is desirable too. And this really goes with everything. You need to understand about the desirability of the particular items that you're trying to, sell. Is an item desirable? Is it something that people want too? If you're trying to sell an item, regardless of what it is, if you're trying to sell an item to a particular demographic and they don't want it, it's not going to sell. But if you do your product research, if you understand the demographics, the particular product niches that you're trying to appeal to, if you're trying to open up a variety of different, stores based around different niches, and you understand all of those niche markets and all of those demographics of what people want, what people buy, go and look at what's selling on eBay. Go and look at what's selling on Etsy. If you understand what people are after and what people want, and you just keep on accumulating knowledge in terms of what is selling in your space, in your particular field, you will get better and you will sell a lot more. I promise you that. But you have to put in a lot of the work and understand what is selling. But that's going to take a little bit of time. And again, all you have to do, if you didn't catch that last part, go to Etsy, go to eBay, go to the sold tab on either Etsy. They actually have all that for you, depending on what store it is that you're looking at. On Etsy, in the very top part, when they have the sales, you can click that and you can see all the sold items. And the same thing that goes with eBay as well. But on eBay, it's on the side tab on the left part. Take a look at the sold portion, and you will be making a lot of money just based around what items are desirable in terms of, in terms of what people are looking for and what people want to buy. Also, what you could do too, which is very underrated, is to go to the Google Trends, take a look, just do a couple random searches. Skateboard shirts. Are people looking for it? Do people want it? If there's a very solid graphic that you're taking a look at, then hell yeah. I mean, if the trend is going up, regardless of what it is that you're looking for, you could be making a lot of money just based around, what people are after, just by taking a look at this. And I really do hope that you learned something from this video. There's a lot more to cover. If you miss something, just leave a comment, and I'm sure I'll get to that in a future video. But for now, remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.